Hey, it's Lisa Wade here with part three in the Art of Soulful Surrender series. This part is probably the part I have had the biggest struggle with my entire life trying to give up. And it's the part that is absolutely the most liberating when we actually do give it up. And that is to surrender the weight of other people's opinions. How many of you have stopped yourself from doing something out of, well, what might they think fears, right? A lot of us feel like we have to put on a certain kind of mask to be accepted in our family, in our communities, in our workplace, in our church, in our wherever. That we have to wear this mask of, socially appropriate, whatever, to be accepted. It's pretty heavy weight. Pretty heavy weight. And quite frankly, sometimes when we're stepping into our soul's purpose and our soul's mission, it goes way outside what might be convenient or normal in the eyes of those around us. Now, some of us have heard, what other people think of me is really none of my business. And that's fine enough to say, but, reality is for most of us, we actually care what other people think. Can we control what other people think? Sometimes we think we can, and therefore we wear the mask or we do the thing or we give and give and give until we're worn out and depleted. We do whatever trying to influence how other people view us. We can't change what other people think about us. We can't dictate that they have to view us through any particular lens. And there might be some incredible liberation and freedom to the idea that other people's opinions are none of my damn business, even when they're about me. Even when they're about me. Now, I'm sure you've all been in a situation where you find out that people think not very kind things about you that are not at all rooted in actual truth. That they just decided that they're going to think bad things about you or make assumptions about your intentions or your motivations or what drives you or what you think or whatever. Totally unhelpful. Totally unhelpful. I'll be honest, ever since I moved back to Oklahoma, I've kind of felt like a fish out of water. Here I am. I started calling myself like a mud tire mystic because I'm an energy reading, spirit talking, nature loving, some would call me tree hugging hippie, living in the heart of rural Oklahoma where I'm surrounded by Baptists and Pentecostals who may or may not, view things through the same lens I do. In the last video, we talked about giving up the need to be right and prove other people wrong. Here, I have felt like people are always looking at me that I am wrong. My way of thinking about God or spirit or soul or whatever is wrong, and that they want to prove to me that they are right. That there's only one way of looking at things, and you know the story. So I kept really quiet for a long time, and that served absolutely nobody well at all, especially and including myself. If you are watching this video, it's only because I decided to give up giving a shit, quite frankly, about whether or not people agreed with me, whether or not people thought that I was right or wrong, but rather communicate from a place that's in alignment with my soul, with the sneaking suspicion that there's probably other people out there who, when given the opportunity to hear some things from this perspective, might go, that actually fits. Or, wow, I never thought about it like that. Or, I've thought that my whole life, but I thought I was the only person who did. And it's kind of nice to know that there's somebody else out there who sees the world through a similar lens. But if we're so concerned about what other people think that we never share our truth, that's where we get into problems. We are being asked to surrender basically the need to be liked, right? Surrender our concern about other people's opinions on our life and about how we're showing up in alignment with our soul. Because when we are in alignment with our soul and can act from that place, the difference we're able to make in the world, number one, is way more meaningful and significant because it is our unique opportunity and ability to make that difference. That's why we're here. Nobody else can make the same difference we can make. Nobody can. But we can't make our own difference when we're busy being somebody else just to make some other people happy. Number two, it's harder to feel joy when we're acting out of alignment with our soul. When we are showing up in a way that's disingenuous or inauthentic because we feel this is how we have to show up to appease somebody else, that is soul crushing. And it is really hard to find joy or any kind of sustained joy, especially when we're operating from a place that's not even us, who we are at our core. You came here to be you. Now, a lot of the opportunity and the challenge of having a life here on earth is learning to navigate around all of these boulders, and roadblocks and obstacles and constrictions, and there's a big tree in the way and alligators in a moat, So we are navigating all of that. And so often it's the fear of other people's opinions that are the biggest obstacles. I used to think if I came out and actually shared, like coming out of the spiritual closet, right? Came out and actually shared what I believed, that there would be a group of angry Baptists show up on my front doorstep with like flaming pitchforks ready to, take off my head again this life. Turns out that hasn't happened. And it turns out by even thinking those thoughts, I'm kind of being an asshole to all the Baptists. Because quite frankly, most of the Baptists I know are pretty nice people. And the Pentecostals and the pick your denomination are actually pretty nice people. I've even had some people say, hey, if that belief system helps you feel closer to God, then I'm all for it. That's a cool kind of way to approach life, right? I was making assumptions about other people's reactions or opinions or beliefs that weren't even freaking accurate because I was the one being judgy. That was a pretty big realization. So when I freed myself of prejudging how I thought other people were going to judge me, and then actually just started being me, it turns out people are a whole lot nicer and more welcoming and encouraging than I was giving them credit for before. And you all are part of those people I'm talking about. We're here to be us. You are here to be you. I am here to be me in our own unique way, in our own soul-aligned way. And when we allow fear of the opinions of others to get in the way of us showing up as our unique self, that prevents us from being able to truly and fully live into our soul's purpose and the reason why we're here. Our soul is patiently waiting, guiding, encouraging, whispering, that quiet voice that whispers in our ear. It's right there, just hoping that we will align with it and have faith that everything's going to be just fine, and not caring so much through our ego, because the fear of other people's opinions is all ego-based. It's our ego trying to keep us safe by keeping us small. Our soul wants us to be expansive and big. And that's really scary to the ego because the outcome of that is unknown. And anything that's changed or anything that's new or anything that's unknown feels really freaking scary. And our ego's job is to keep us safe. Some of us decide we're done being small, though, that small is actually the unsafe way of operating. Because when we're playing small and putting ourselves in this little box that's so constricted by the worries and concerns of other people's opinions, that in and of itself, we are enslaving ourselves. When we liberate ourselves from those concerns, liberate our soul to actually be the one driving the train instead of our fears and our ego, our life starts taking on a whole different meaning, starts bringing in a whole lot more joy. We start finding and aligning with the people who actually need to hear and interact with us in our true self, in our true way of being, because that's what they've been waiting for. Now, it might mean that we outgrow some folks. That happens. And if that happens, that's okay too. It might hurt for a little while, but it's okay too. But when we can outgrow the need to perpetually please others and the tyranny of fear around their opinion of us, and start being motivated by our own opinion of us. Am I living in a way that's true, authentic, real, genuine, in integrity, in alignment with my soul? Am I living in a way that's brave and courageous, and recognizing, deciding not to give a shit about the opinions of others? That is a courageous, nearly rebellious act. And it's certainly outside the societal standard. But damn, it's freeing. It really is. Especially when you're acting in a way that's in alignment with your soul, and your soul ultimately wants to spread more kindness, love, compassion, empathy, and joy. Seems our planet could use a whole hell of a lot more of that right now. I think most of us could say our lives could use a whole hell of a lot more of that right now. Our soul wants what's good for us and also what's good for others. It's not just self-serving, but it's interested in serving the common good and the common cause. When we align with that, decide not to be held back by the fear of others, when we surrender that fear and step into the leadership and power and light and courage of our soul, that's when we change the world. That's when we live an existence that is truly meaningful to us personally, and that has the opportunity and the ability to make the biggest difference for the most amount of people. And it feels good. So in part 3 of The Art of Soulful Surrender, you're simply being asked to surrender your attachment to the opinions of others. Let it go. Free yourself, liberate yourself, and be your whole great big sparkly, shiny, loud, whatever you are. Be you. All of you. Not some little smidgen of you. Be all of you. In your bigness. In your soulness. In technicolor. Because you matter. And the world needs you. All of you showing up in your biggest, brightest, boldest self. I'll see you in part 4.